RevenueCat, we need to provide a way RevenueCat link with our app store and Play Store. So just follow this step like register account on RevenueCat and then follow some setup to link with your Apple application and Play Store application. Okay. Yep. So that's some quick summary. Hopefully it's enough.
Thank you. Super quick.
Yeah. Um, okay. Let me jump over to fifth. No, not this one. Okay. So I think we finished connect to App Store and Play Store to our RevenueCat. Um, next, we're gonna be jump on the next step on the RevenueCat website. So you can see we just finished the first step like app right here. Then we go to the next step like configure the API key. So what's the API key is when you select it and then you just create the application and then you just link with your application create both. Then we have two key for the Android and iOS. So what it does is after you have these two key, then in your application, you just init using this two key. Then RevenueCat will understand that, oh, this application is using this key and it's related to this application we link here. Okay. So probably.
Sorry, Steve. We have a question from Johnny.
Okay.
Do you only get the app key, the API key after you create the app? I guess the iOS app and Google app.
Oh, you mean about the key?
Yeah, like it only gives you a key after you create the app.
Yeah, I think after we create the app above, then the key will be appear here because it's the purpose of this is related to specific platform. So when I press show the key right here, each platform will have the different pattern of the key. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Okay.
Marv.
Yeah.
Marv, our another expert joined.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So okay, after we have the API key here, what we gonna do? Let me go through the documentation. React Native, we already installed it. Okay, this is step we need, like configure the SDK. So after this step done, we already show the key, then we already have the key. Then we're gonna be move to configure the SDK. So right here, you just select the React Native. This can be done inside of our custom code, right? So of course, we don't need to do this, but I think the core thing we need to add is like this, like if platform is iOS, then we add this purchase configure something. And this one is a public Apple API key that when we press on this button to show, then we can just replace over here. For Android is a different key, we just replace over here. Yeah, I think it has more and more like Amazon or something else, then we can add more. So that is the next step, like to have like understand that this key is related to the application. Okay, the debug log or something, it just add on. It's optional. We don't need still okay. So okay, so this step is about configure key. Then we're gonna be moved to the next step. I think it's too many steps on this. Okay, then I think the step is exactly like oh, indented. Oh, let's jump over here. Next step is okay about the step above install about the step above about configure the SDK. Where is it? Configure the SDK. Okay, this step is must only run only one time of your application. It's not put everywhere of your application. It just only put only single time. Maybe in the first initial screen, like loading screen or maybe welcome screen before jumping to next step. Okay, that's why I put it on component did mount. So it's quite easy. Like you add it to our Draftbit, like using mount effect in the string function, right? So this make sure this one it just only run one time. Next, what we're gonna do is uh, I think there's a common mistake about in a purchase is the user must log in before they do the purchase. Okay, so that's why it have the next step is called identifying the customer or identify user. So okay, not this one. Um, Login. Okay, so this step is about login. So what it's doing is your user is must register account and then they log in. And after you log in, maybe they have some user ID of the user on backend. Example like 111 or maybe 222, right? So what it's gonna do is what we want to do is after they do subscription or after they purchase, we we must know exactly which user do that. Then we can add more permission or maybe unlock something for this user to view this feature or something like that, right? So that's why we need to be identify the customer. So how we can do it? So of course our application have some feature like login. So what's doing is after you log in from backend, we also try to do the action like login into the RevenueCat. So that's why we need to add this code to your action. Like example, you press on this button. Oops, you press on this button, then example, you press on this button, you do some action login. Then you have the response from the backend, and then you know exactly what user ID is, right? And then we use that ID to log in on the RevenueCat. So that's then we just try to add this code like purchase, log in, and put the user ID here. Okay. After you log in, it will the RevenueCat also return this data like customer info. I think this one is most important uh, because they know exactly. Is someone asking question? Okay,
Yes,
go.
Marv.
I just want to add one thing. While we are putting the user ID, we have to make sure it is a string because RevenueCat doesn't support the number type of string. That's some kind of mistake is done by the user.
Yep.
So we can do a fail-safe thing like adding the string conversion when we get the ID in the function and then pass it to the RevenueCat login function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's when I
Thank you.
Thanks.
Johnny, please ask your question. Go ahead.
Can I use like a auth key as that ID or whatever or something? Like after they log in, you use an authentication key or token. I guess I'm
Yeah.
kind of confused.
Yeah. Good question. We shouldn't use that auth key. The reason is the auth key is maybe change every time the user log in, right? Like maybe every 30 day it will be expired. So that auth key is not the single consistent key to detect the user. So what's RevenueCat doing here is just like, hey, this application had someone log in with the ID like 100. Then it will recognize that, oh, this user is purchased, this user is already purchased, or maybe this user is already canceled or something. But if you're using the auth key, it's maybe like it's dynamic, right? So maybe up every time login is changed, or maybe after 30 days expire or something, then it's not the good key for using in this case. Yeah.
So I would just use
So
if I'm in Xano or something, I would just use the
Yeah.
ID
User.
associated with the
Yeah.
user.
User.id. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. It must be unique. Yeah. Just for your information, it must be unique. Yeah.
Soham has questions.
So my question was, I heard something about RevenueCat, like making its own user IDs for its own like specific like customers. Would we use that ID or would we just use our own like backend's user ID?
I see. It's good question. By default, um, when you log in, a RevenueCat will provide some ID called anonymous ID to detect ID for themselves. It's also for the case that our uh, some user using this library don't know about this. So also they also generate the anonymous ID, which means that ID is like a really long like MongoDB database ID generated by them, right? But what we want is uh, we must put this information to force the RevenueCat know, hey, don't use that ID. This ID is for because of course you still can use that ID, but it's really have to trace in the future, like, oh, where's the ID come from? And then you need to think about, oh, ID 100 need to be mapped to this ID from RevenueCat. So it's gonna be increase the complexity for the system. So it's gonna be good to tell about this one, like, yeah, just focus ID. Yeah, I think it's calling about it, your app receive all ID until later in its circle. You can set it. So of course, if you didn't call this function, of course it still generates some random really long string anonymous ID. But if your app have this user ID, we must do this. Yeah, see. So it will mention about this right here. Yeah, I think it had the documentation had something like this. Okay. Is it answer your question, Soham?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, question.
Go, Mars.
I just want to add on with Sui. So I think different user have their different model in their app. So someone try to build something like subscription model, and someone try to design one-off purchase. So when you're doing one-off purchase, you don't have to care about the login ID, because then you don't need the RevenueCat talk to your backend. So the login ID, like the user ID, is actually used for RevenueCat talking to your backend. So this ID will be used. So if you don't think you need that kind of model, you can just log in anonymously, and
Yeah.
the user will buy one time, and then we don't need to have to care about it. So yeah.
Yep.
It actually depends on the use cases.
Yeah. It depends on the complexity of the projects also. Yeah. I think it's also mentioned right here because of course at default is gonna be anonymous. Okay. So where should we where are we right now? So should I move next? Look like no more questions.
No more
Okay.
questions. Yes.
Yeah, so after we log in, okay, like RevenueCat already recognized that who we are. I think the my root information is really important. That we need to force the user ID as a string because it's not it through the error from RevenueCat library that you must log in and the value there must be a string. Next week I'm gonna jump on to where is it? Let me see. Uh, okay. Next, we need to, okay, so we already logged in. We're installing the package. We're logged in. Next, how we can fetch the subscription data from App Store and Play Store, right? So, of course, we need to go to our App Store and Play Store to configure the pricing for subscription for both iOS and Android. And it's required put some screenshot of your design and also some description and also the pricing plan like $20 or maybe $50 for monthly. So this depend on your projects. So you just follow this step to input some text paperwork from App Store and Play Store. Then right here, okay, so after that step is done and you got some approve from App Store and Play Store, then we can jump back to the RevenueCat. We can configure the entitlement right here. So what is this purpose? It depends on the projects. Maybe your project is simple. It doesn't need it, but some projects we need something like personal plus or maybe enterprise. It's like multiple level, and each level have example like personal. You just show 2 feature, but if the plus or maybe the pro, you're gonna show full feature like 8 or 9 feature, right? So it's make the curiosity for user, so you can purchase more higher plan. So that's why the entitlement is coming up, like to separate the plan. Um, yeah, so example like this image right here is we have like personal and the plus, right? So it's two separate things. Okay, so I think the step we configure on RevenueCat exactly from top to bottom. So the products here, nothing special. It's just the data linked with the Play Store and App Store. Okay. I think the next one gonna be important is get the offering. Okay, let me go to the get the offering. Where is it? Offering, offering. Let me type in here. Why it's not showing here? Okay, loading. Okay, so the offering is what exactly uh, what exactly our app will fetching the data. Oh, not this one. So here, why is not? Okay, go here. It's about display the products. I think it's a cool step. So so uh, so what we do is we configure the offering on the RevenueCat. So it exactly like entitlement, like hey, offering package A, 1 month, how much, a year, how much. It's exactly what we want to display over here. So we're gonna need to do some fetching offer. So I think it's quite easy. Just go to some custom code and then just, hey, get the offering, and then we can know exactly the data. Then we can display exactly like this UI on the app. So what is purpose? It's just like display. So the data is coming from the offering of the offering section, what we create. So example, you define like $3 when you get offering, it's just like $3 for both platform. And then we try to display in here. It has two way. One is we can display by code. And the second way, I think we can try to do the paywall from RevenueCat. I think it's maybe cool too. Maybe you can figure it out. So it's just like based on the data we get, then we just try to do some drag and drop on the RevenueCat to display the paywall right here. Yeah, I think it has some detailed step. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it about offering. See, you can define multiple, and then we can set which one has the default. Default have 2 package. I think it's exactly what I mentioned before. Like display this one for sale or something. But in simple, I think we just display everything. Yeah. So I think we have some biggest notes over here about some, I think even engineer or maybe some senior engineer facing this problem about it's kind of fetching the offering data. So I have some tips about this. The common problem number one is make sure you have no error when configure the subscription on both iOS App Store and Play Store. Which means if on iOS App Store you configure subscription, have some error about, hey, you configure the wrong price, or maybe you forgot to input your credit card or something. It also prevent this gonna happen, right? So you must input some credit card on App Store and Play Store and follow some stuff to make the subscription no error on that both store. Then you're able to fetch this data. Okay, that's not number one. Number two, on Android, I think we already know that on Android, we have closed testing, open testing, and maybe production mode. So on Android, you must submit the first bill, close testing, and we get approved from the app from the Play Store. Then we can fetch get the offering data. Okay, so which means you need to have some APK build even it does not fully this feature, but you need to submit to Play Store. They review your application, review your subscription plan, they approve it, then you can fetch this offering for your some next bill. Okay, that's the note number 2. Note number 3, make sure the bundle ID is correct, because the pricing subscription of to store is recognized by your bundle ID, which means company.something, right? So if you put the wrong bundle IDs, everything goes wrong, and it's maybe fetch it with through the error. Okay, so that is about get the offering data. So I'm going to share some tips about that.
I'm sorry, can I ask you about for entitlements? Is that where if I'm just doing strictly the subscription base, like if you want to give them a trial for 30 days and then um, a 30-day subscription and then like 6 month offer, is that where you would set it up also, is entitlement?
I think that is the different part on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you mean about you configure the trials, detailed stuff about trial, how many days on that, right?
Yeah.
I think the trial is a different part.
And I might
Free
have got ahead
trial.
of you or something.
Yeah. I think the different. I think it depend on the projects. It's got the different way we can configure the trial. See. So it's have the. Okay, I think Maruk can go next. I think it depends of Maruk. Can you say something?
No, I was just saying I think most of the things should be configured from the Apple Store or Google Play
Yeah.
Store. So
Yeah.
RevenueCat is just to packaging things and showing things on the app. All those kind of things should be configured on the App Store side, either on App Store or Google Play Store.
Yep. Trial. Yeah, I think that exactly the trial it's configurable on the Play Store. I think it's have the detail stuff on that. Yeah, I think it's in the future. I think it's in exactly in the in-app purchase page. Yeah, it have a lot of option. I think this one is about the subscription pricing. Where is it? I think the trial is it, let me see. Subscription duration. Yeah, I forgot it has some trial in the Play Store and App Store. You can configure it, but this UI is pretty outdated. How to say on the App Store they update year by year, so of course this UI is not the final ones. But I think about the trial you can configure on the App Store. RevenueCat it just try to do the same, receive that information and then just display it. Yeah.
So if you're just doing strictly subscription to access your application, you don't really need RevenueCat. You can just do your trial, your 1 month subscriptions and stuff through Apple or Google. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you mean about do the you mean about they don't need to go to this flow? I mean the subscription flow.
Yeah, like if I wanted the users to download my app and then to use it or access it or anything, they would have to either do a 30-day trial or they would have to purchase a 30-day subscription.
I
Um,
see. I
yeah,
see.
go
I
ahead.
think it has two way we can do it. You can do it. The first way is you can control it on your backend. Like if they are download application, you know exactly the day they created. Like today, like 10 January, right? So example, like then you trigger exactly like if they try to call some API or be landing on the like 7 day after, then we can just force to show them the subscription UI. So if you can check the free trial behind the scene without do this flow for simplicity, right? So you just can check like from the day the user using, right? And then 7 day after or maybe 14 day or maybe 30 day. Then if they open the app again, then you check, oh, the initial created ad of your account is like 30 days ago. So this forces the user to show this UI. So that's the solution number one. Solution number two is like Maruf said, that you just go to the Play Store and then App Store, configure the trial, how many days, and then they need to see that UI on the payment flow, and then they tap on it, do something. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's two way. Yeah, the first way just you can control by your backend. The second way it's just like you give the control to App Store and Play Store. Yeah.
And yeah, so if you go into the second route using the RevenueCat, so you have a function called get customer info. So you see you have a login function. So when you log in, you get the customer info. So after login, you can check if the user has like that. Login info has everything related to subscription, has their grace period, has overdue, or their subscription has expired. Every information is there. You can extract it, and you can also create a function to get the customer info whenever you want. And that customer info will have all those information, and which you can use to determine if you are going to give the user the premium access or not. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I think the step we talked before about guest offering, making purchase. Okay, so after you display the product, I think the making purchase might be a simple thing. So yeah, just same one way live code. It's just like purchase and purchase the package, and we just pass the package we get from the offering, and we put over here. Then we gonna get the response from the customer info. So I think like Maruf said before, like it's have the pattern that we can know exactly this user is already purchased for which um, which package, right? Example, this one right here, it must be the pro. So because the command below is mentioned about the pro. So if your project is have something like pro personal or something, and then you just put over here, then you can check this one is unlock the pro feature. Yeah. So this response, like Maru said, you can get the customer info after you purchase. So after you purchase, you can already know exactly the customer info. And also, like Maru said, that we have checked the subscription status, which means like when the user next time open the application, you also can trigger this function like, hey, customer info purchase, just customer info, because we already logged in, right? So it's know exactly who you are, and then it's get the latest customer info. So what this customer info contain, I think it's exactly what it can show in this image. So it's not exactly like you're rebuilding for this purchase for this one. When you purchase, when you expire, which platform, yeah, your subscription, iOS or Android. Yeah, so it's know some information. Oh, it's not showing over here. Yeah, it's know exactly version, your purchase date, and when you expire. And when it's really expired, when you fetch it again, then you didn't see that information is, yeah, you know exactly it's expired. So all of this we handle behind the scene of RevenueCat. Okay. So what on our side doing is just get the latest custom info, and of course you can have multiple way, like we can store this at the device variable, like to make it consistent for every screen, like hey, if you get this one you show this feature, or you get this one you disable this feature. So it's recommend like get this latest information and make it consistent in every screen of the app. Yeah. So yeah, it can display like this. Okay, so that's about simple about purchase. Um, okay, about this one is checking customer info is, yeah, it gets some original data. Yeah, it can also know some information, active, expiration date, store, sandbox, check is okay. So this one, I think it provides some syntax about get the customer info. So customer info is about the day you purchase when you expire, and this one is maybe useful. Is check if the user is subscribed. So it depends on the application. Yeah, this one is check if the type is defined. Is check if subscribe, and it depends on some application if it complex or not. It will can have multiple if else, like if you check this one, then you have pro access, check this one, then you have some free access. So it depends on what's the application. Okay, so about purchase, get subscription info. Anything else? No, I think after this, yeah, I think after this, I think we already done how we can implement the RevenueCat. I think step some small step about it is about the sandbox testing. Is mostly when you're testing on Android and iOS. It's not so in real life. It takes about a month because we configure a month or maybe a year for subscription. But when you're testing on test flight, it just take about like 30 minutes or maybe 5 minutes. The reason is the way that App Store and Play Store do is make it short time so we can verify and test quicker. Yeah, so it's not exactly a month or a year because it's impossible to testing. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's about how we can interact with RevenueCat. Any questions?
Wow. Thank you. See you.
Is it
And thank you,
quick?
Maru. I think that's okay. Not
Mm.
quick. Not too much quick.
A
So
lot
do
of
you have
things.
any questions regarding RevenueCat implementation to CU or Maru?
Yep.
Yes. Please go ahead, Ron.
Could you go over what you did in the beginning again, like the whole RevenueCat ID, and how to like put it into Draftbit, like to begin with, like the package and everything?
Yep. Sure. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I think you shown late. But for your information, uh, the first information is maybe the RevenueCat is not able to preview on Rapid. I mean, even when you configure like get the offering or something, it didn't show up. But when we build application, it's gonna work. It will work, but it's not able to preview in here because it's related to subscription and a lot of native things behind the scene. Um, but the step I can show is right here, just install the React Native purchase because based on the documentation of RevenueCat, we just need to install this package to, okay, I think this step you can register account RevenueCat and you can do it like, oh, it's display detail. Install the SDK. So on Draftbit, I think just do the React Native widget installations. Yeah, I just do the step like exactly React Native purchase, like this. Uh, and about the step, okay, about step configure the app, just easily to register the account for the step from RevenueCat, like create a project. This one exactly what I'm sharing, like design on application, App Store and Play Store. This one exactly. So the rest of the field just uh, follow some. We just fill some required field and it's okay. Um, right here. I think let me show this image. Yeah, so this one exactly that's the one showing in the documentation. So just add the new to application and try to fill this field over here. So this field over here, what RevenueCat want to just detect that, oh, you really owe the developer account. You really owe this app bundle ID and your app name. and you get the secret key somewhere in the developer Apple and push over here. It's really know, oh, this application is related to you. So this step is just for link this two application to make it understand each other. Yeah. Is this answer your question?
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in the documentation, revenue tax provide really details. I think it's also mentioned exactly what I mentioned. Like you need to put it exactly like agreement, tax, banking, input, yeah, some stuff before can test any purchase. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. See you for all of the information that you provided. Soham, please go
Okay.
ahead.
Just one more. Is there any way, like, I know you said like it doesn't show up on like the display even though until you like build it, but
Mm-hmm.
is there any way for you to make like a test app that has like a working RevenueCat integration and post it on like the community somewhere? Just as a reference for anyone who wants to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Like it's just a super simple app with like a button and like it has the code in there that says like, configuring the SDK. It has the code for just getting the offerings. It has the code for you know, the user ID and everything. Just a
Mm-hmm.
test app that people can reference.
I see. You know exactly the complex of this one is if want to make the test app is working, the driver need to be configured some bundle ID fit for that, and also set up the subscription plan for that app. Because if you bring exactly it doesn't work on your side, that's the complex part.
No, it
And
doesn't
it
have to
yeah.
work. It just has to have
Oh.
like the right code so people can just reference it.
Actually, I
I
understand.
see.
Thank you for asking. The code itself is not very different than the RevenueCat's documentation code, right, CU? So you can
Yeah.
reference directly from there. And just for information, implementing RevenueCat is part of our expert services. So we are providing that service for our users. But we would love to help you, of course, during implementation if we can help. But putting the example app or code itself, I don't think this could be something that we can help with at that point. But as I said before, the implementation is no different than the RevenueCat's documentation.
Okay. And if I wanted to test it, I'd have to like actually build the app and put it on like test flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's hard for
Okay.
for us also.
So so I have two things. I don't know if you have enough time. So for some of the custom codes for the RevenueCat, um, where does that? I know you said for the ID grab on the login, put it on like the loading screen after a login, grab the ID. Where does some of the other stuff go? And like I guess maybe after you would log in, they would check their subscription status essentially. Um,
Okay.
that like what is the workflow in Draftbit versus what's going towards the back end? You know what I'm trying to say?
So you're asking about the front end implementation, basically, right?
Yes.
Where to
Um,
where to
so
call the function, etc.
yeah, like where you place in some of that custom code, and things like that. So like after login, you grab your ID, and then from there you move into maybe check their subscription status.
Yes,
If they are
I see.
valid, then they can proceed to their profiles or whatever it may be. If they're not valid, maybe it routes them to the selection for offerings or whatever, so that they can choose
Mm.
to renew their subscription. Is that kind of how it's
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
Maybe we can share some kind of best practices about it. See.
Yeah. I will share quickly, maybe drawing maybe better to share because like really complicated journey. But I share really understanding, really super easy understanding by my drawing pad. So probably at first thing you say like, isn't everybody see a drawing, right? So after you log in, based on what I'm sharing, you also guess. Okay, so you log in using your user ID. So what you will get, you know exactly the customer info, right? That I'm sharing, like you get the customer info, you know exactly this user is subscribed to which packet, like pro or personal or something, or maybe this user is subscribed through a font. Okay. So after this step, you will start somewhere, like I said, you start somewhere in app variable to make it globally, right? Because you don't want to, it happen only in the login screen. So maybe just upper, okay? So you will know exactly this customer info entire on your app. So imagine you are in login screen, and next you will landing on the home screen. Of course, with this variable, you know exactly, oh, you hide the header, or maybe you hide the button right here, or maybe you hiding some features around here, right? So that's about that is subscribe and not subscribe showing. Then of course, if you know go to exactly um, some screen, we call it like subscription screen, right? So subscription screen. So what I sharing the code before is about get the offering will trigger when the user open this screen, right? Exactly, they open this screen, it will show some loading, and then you get the, oh, okay, this one is monthly, this one is yearly. So it will get a offering exactly in this screen, right? And then after you display this box, when they press on it, when they press on this, you will trigger some purchase action that are sharing like click on this, we purchase something from RevenueCat. So when press on this, we will trigger purchase. And then after we purchase, we have the customer info. Again, I think you will see like making purchase, we'll get the customer info. So what it's doing is making purchase. When we get the customer info, we will replace again the customer info right here. So it will make one custom info that are consistent for every screen of the application. Okay, so exactly when you purchase, oh, then your subscription screen gonna be updated because, oh, this button is disabled, or maybe it shows some purchase. Why would you know this? Because the customer info and active something like active pro is unlocked, right? You know exactly like they unlock which one, and then you show it's focus on maybe disabled because they already purchased. Yeah, so I think it's answer your question.
yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then for the purchase part, does RevenueCat handle all the card details and all that stuff, or you have to have another screen to accept all that?
No, because when they press on the purchase, it will trigger the native from the iOS and Android. And they did it, and they didn't do anything, right? Imagine like,
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, so they press on that, they open the native iOS, Android. If the user cancel, nothing happened. If they purchase and they cut invalid, nothing happened. If they purchase and it's valid, then the customer info will be received. Yeah. Okay, so
One last thing. So when like in the beginning when you were configuring the SDK, you had to put in like the two API keys for whatever apps that you were using in RevenueCat. Would
correct.
you store those in a variable, or was that just like custom code that you would just put in after login? Like for example, on your login screen, when they press the button, just run that custom code, or would it
Uh,
actually have meaning to like a variable?
I see. I think with that custom code, you can do it simple by just pass the hash string there because it just only happen once time in the application. We can do it simple by just create a custom code on mouse because we want to trigger one time, right? So just on mouse and we'll do that. Init only on the screen first time, first screen of the application. Example, like login screen, right? So you just add the mouse effect on this screen, and then just add that code of the RevenueCat over here. Yeah. So then we will edit
Wait,
only
what is
one
that?
time. It's just like in the Draftbit example, like the this one is called the login. Login. Okay. I call it login. Okay. So you just add the screen function. Then just choose custom hook. Mount effect, which means like it will mount the first time. Then we just pass entire code on the RevenueCat over here. Probably it's a configure products. Where is it? No. Setup RevenueCat. I think where's the where's the code to bring it there. So I just try to where's it? Setup the RevenueCat. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
think it
just
was there.
yeah, I just put some dummy code here, like just purchase configure, right? So it's just like dummy code, like if iOS, then we do something like this. If Android, then do something like this. Yeah.
And the API key just goes in this custom code
Yeah.
and like nothing else, right?
Yeah. It's just like
Like it doesn't have to store in some variable, like an app variable or anything.
yeah. I think you just put the key here. Then it's gonna be good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we don't have any other questions. So we can wrap up today's session then.
Yep.
And as we wrap up today's enlightening of ours, I want to express my deepest gratitude to see you, to for your insightful presentation and explanation on RevenueCat implementation in general, and of course the practical advices. I think they have been immensely valuable to all of us and all of our users. And to our audience and attendees, thank you for your engaging questions and for being such an active part of today's session and the session. It's your curiosity to learn that, make these sessions rewarding and informative. Thank you once again for joining us, and keep exploring, keep learning, and keep joining to our office hours. See you in the next office hour. Okay? Happy
Yeah.
Thank you,
building.
guys.
Thanks everyone. Yeah. Thanks for some good questions.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.